Hello everyone, welcome to Digital Marketing Gyan Podcast, your one-stop destination to explore the latest happenings, strategies, tools, techniques, and case studies in the digital marketing domain. I'm your host Prince Kumar, and we have Amy Zwagerman, the founder of Launchbox, with us today. Amy is a seasoned marketing executive with 25 plus years of professional experience in media and entertainment, consumer products, and omni-channel distribution and sales. In 2016, she founded the Launchbox, a boutique marketing service firm where she has served as the advisor, mentor, and fractional CMO to thousands of startups. Her advice has been featured in numerous industry publications, including the American Marketing Association. Hi, Amy, a warm welcome on our show. We are excited to have you on our show and discuss a very good topic, that is the first 90 days marketing plan for an e-commerce startup.
Yep, it's an amazing topic. I I love e-commerce. I love the e-commerce flywheel. And for me, the 90 days starts before you even launch. So I'm excited to talk about this with you.
Great, great. Okay, so to start, before starting our conversation, can you let the audience know a bit about yourself, about your corporate journey?
Yeah, of course. Um, the byline for my corporate journey that I've come up with is movies, marketing, and mentorship. I got lucky after I graduated from undergraduate. I have a degree in marketing to land in the entertainment industry. It wasn't a desire or a goal, but it was just something that serendipitously came together. I love pop culture. I love movies. I love television. So it was a really, really fun ride working at all the different studios. I've covered everything from James Bond to Star Trek to animated features from Nickelodeon and DreamWorks. So what's really great about movies is that every audience is different. So it gave me an incredible foundation for how to build strategic marketing plans that are targeted to your audience. So I think that's my core expertise is how to take your product, what you're selling, define your customer audience, and how to create a really specific marketing strategy that speaks to that customer. So that's the marketing piece. And then mentorship has just always been an important part of my career. I was lucky enough to get into some great mentoring programs over time. And now I like to spend time mentoring on the flip side as well.
Oh, great, great. So, now coming to the topic that we have. So, before that, can you help, everyone understand that why these initial days, initial 30, 60, or 90 days, these are very crucial for any startup to set up their complete marketing objective.
Yeah. I actually look at the first 90 days as 60 to 90 days as that time before you launch. They are incredibly critical. The three things you really need to do are validate your audience or validate your idea, make sure you're selling something that a customer wants, find out who that customer is and how important that item is to them, and what makes it interesting, what's going to help them convert into a sale. I know a lot of time we talk about a widget and if somebody's going to want a widget, but why do they want your widget? What makes your widget special? And who are the customers that are going to think like you or who are going to think that's special? A lot of times people think everyone is their audience, and that can sometimes be true. But if you launch with a target of everyone, things get very muddled and it's hard to make a connection and to get that initial traction. So it's really all about idea validation, finding your audience, and then doing a beta test. What does that beta test look like? Who's that initial core market? I like to talk about a bullseye. So when you're doing that beta, you've identified that core audience and it can be really specific. You get traction with them and then you grow from there into bigger and bigger audiences. I like to say start local and then go global. Local can be your neighborhood, your town, your city, your state, your country. It's depending on your product and what you're doing. but you have to think with that smallest circle and then get bigger and bigger as you evolve. The other thing that's really important is establishing the brand. What is your brand name? What does your logo look like? What is your ethos? How do you want to speak to the customer? What do you believe in? How are you going to do your customer service? It sounds soft, but it's actually really important. Establishing your brand and who you want to be helps you make that connection with the customer. And Amazon is very different from a Barnes and Noble, so to speak, right? Coke is different from Pepsi. Is it? It is, right?
Definitely.
It's all about branding. So you really have to establish your brand, and you don't have to get too deep into this, but it is about the brand name, a basic logo that can evolve over time, and what's the basic look and voice that you want to have. So those are the three things that I really focusing on when I start out, when I'm working with a company to build a new e-commerce. And then from there, you develop that marketing strategy and you go into the launch, right? And then the next 90 days is about connecting with those customers, getting conversions, optimizing your website, optimizing your marketing funnel, until you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've got this figured out. Now I can start to grow and scale.
Definitely, very rightly. Now, to the point that you're mentioning upon about the target audience. Definitely, this is what we have seen upon that many startups say that, if let's say I have an e-commerce and my target audience is entire universe, they do not have any age group specific. But since in initial days when we start upon, definitely we have limited budget out there. We cannot show our ads to the entire world out there. And therefore, if we are precise about target audience, that will help us achieve better results compared to, just showing our ads and then expecting 20% of the conversions just because, few of the positive leads have been come.
Yeah. And if you think about it this way, a lot of people are afraid, or a lot of founders are afraid to limit their audience because they're like, oh no, what if I don't get sales? It's going to make me unsuccessful. But the flip side of that is that if you say, okay, I'm just going to take my scenario, for example, I'm here in California. If I'm going to target to just Hermosa Beach, I can geo-target my ads, my Google ads, my social media ads, and get a much more efficient cost per click, figure out what ads work, and then expand out. It's not about eliminating everyone else. It's not about never speaking to or reaching them. It's about efficiently connecting with your customer and then scaling that campaign so that you can reach more people. Additionally, if you're a global business, which as soon as you go online, you are by de facto global, whether or not you're selling globally, different audiences may have different value propositions. They may want you to speak to them differently. They may want to respond to some different kind of components of your product. So you don't know that going out. And so spending money broadly is, I like to think of it or explain it as just it's wasted spend. The other thing to keep in mind is that all of the digital media or digital advertising avenues are set up to convince you to spend more money. So for example, you're running a Google search campaign and it's, 12 cents to buy a bid on your brand name, right? You set that up, you get a little traction, you're understanding it, and then you get an email that says, broaden your audience with these 5 metrics or these 5 keywords, and you could get 10 times as much reach. And you're like, that's great. And before you know it, you're spending $100 a day on Google search, and 90% of your search is going to people who aren't actually interested in your product.
Understood.
So you have to be careful that, and remembering that these platforms are set up to make money. If you make money along the way because you know how to do it and you're efficient, that's awesome. But their main objective is to make themselves money. So you have to be very cautious about we can make you more money messages.
No, definitely. And to do this, generally the best practice will be to do a small A/B testing out there. Because definitely when you have a limited budget, what you can do is you can experiment. Let's say with this age group, we can do some experimentation, and with different age group, we can try with different. And there might be a chance that we were assuming that, okay, my age group is, 25 to 30 out there. But somewhere the communication might have worked for a 30 to 40 years age group out there. So many times happen this happens. So if we do those A/B testing, we will be able to understand our audience better. And I guess that in a limited budget we can try for it.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing I would just caution people to do when they're doing A/B testing is to make sure they're testing just one variable. So if you're testing an audience age, you have the same ad and it's going to different ages and you're seeing how it converts. If you're testing a message, you've got the same exact targeting and you're just changing the message. So you have to be really careful about that. I also like the idea of testing a zip code to another zip code or a city to another city, because that can help you understand where this is going to move, or state to state, depending on your product. The key is to think of all these variables. And this is where what I mentioned earlier, like being very strategic about your product and your customer. Which one of them matters to you? They don't all matter the same to everyone or to every company. So you've really got to think about what you're trying to do and figure out what the metric is that's going to help you move the needle.
Good. So now, according to you, what are the marketing strategies that you would be suggesting to e-commerce businesses who have recently set up their businesses?
Yeah. So according to me and everyone else on the internet and tried and true practices, the three key things you have to think about, and I'm kind of rolling a few together, is there's email and SMS marketing. So you've got to make sure you have an email service provider plugged into your store and you're capturing the basic abandoned carts, abandoned browsers, you've got funnels, you've got segmentation. You're able to capture the customer journey when they hit your store so that you can measure it going out and that you can re-engage with them. A brand's most valuable asset, especially in e-commerce, is their customer list. So you want them signing up for an email list. You want to know who they are. You want to know how you can engage with them. This is more important than even followers on social media, because tomorrow a social media platform could shut down or change ownership or change the way they do business. And all of a sudden you can't connect with your customers. So having their email means you always have a way to talk to them. It's even better than having your product in a mass retailer, because then that retailer owns the customer. So something to think about as a top tier is just make sure you get an email platform set up. And then I always advise my customers to set it up so they can start collecting SMS consent so that they can start text marketing as soon as they're ready. Just start getting that consent before you're even thinking about doing it, because that's the hardest part. Additionally, there's organic social. It's a great way to drive awareness. So you want to grab your social media handles on the channels that are relevant. Don't go everywhere. Figure out where your customer is and what's the best channels for your business. I say 2 to 3 is manageable. 5 is insane. It's a lot of work. You need to have a staff for that, right? So you want to get out there and find the best places to talk to your customer. The other thing that's really good on organic social is I look at partnership promotions, find companies that are on social speaking to your same customer audience, and see if they'll partner with you. Do sweepstakes, do giveaways, do anything you can to try and tap into their audience. Also get out there and engage with your audience wherever they are and engage with them so that they come to you. The other thing that's really taken off in the last year is DM campaigns. So things like ManyChat, where you can post and say, DM me, this keyword, and I'll send you X, or I'll give you this product. So you definitely want to connect on social. And if you can, connect up social commerce. Many of these e-commerce platforms, Shopify, I'm a Shopify partner, it's the biggest one out there, will allow you to practically one-click set up a Facebook store, an Instagram store, a TikTok store. Get there, tag your products, get set up so that as soon as you're starting to pay influencers or you start to get traction, that's already there and it's already built some audience and following. And the last one is pay-per-click. So pay-per-click is how I describe social media advertising, Google search, Google ads. You don't need to do everything, but you want to be able to go and capture. If you're driving awareness with organic, you want to be able to capture that awareness and make sure it lands on your website. So that's the third one that I added to the mix. And then I grow that as a company grows and they have more money, more traction, and they understand what they're doing. The last thing I'm going to add on, which I don't think everyone talks about, it's my favorite thing, is direct mail. There's a lot of great direct mail platforms out there that will plug right into your email and your e-commerce platform that allow you to optimize on a funnel. So say someone's new to my customer and they have my store and they haven't converted, they've gotten a 5 series welcome campaign, they've interacted a little bit, I can send them a postcard for 50 cents. And that will get an incredible return. I've seen a lot of success. You can also do nice awareness campaigns through direct mail, targeting cities, targeting certain types of buyers. It's a little more money, but it's a really effective way to sort of get out of the e-commerce clutter. And you know that because you've seen a lot of these e-commerce brands that have popped go through that route before they popped.
Definitely. Okay, so while you were mentioning upon one of the strategies that is having a proper email marketing. So, what can be the proper way by which we can collect new leads through email marketing? Is there a way by which we can create new database?
I'm a big fan. I trust organic. I don't say buy a list. I think the best way to boost your list or to shortcut that is to partner with companies and to partner with brands and see, can you include my brand in your email or vice versa, or do a campaign on social and use that campaign to drive email signups. It's important to understand what your goal is. So is it email signups? Then your marketing strategy that you're doing for awareness is always around driving an email signup. Is it getting followers on social? And that can be important too, right? It depends on which metric you're gauging. Then everything you're doing is pointing towards that. So you've got to just sort of make sure you're not trying to do everything, but that you're pointing all of your activities towards what your goal is. The other thing is make sure that you have a great way on your website to capture emails. What's been popular lately? Questionnaires or quizzes. Take this quiz to find the ideal product for you, right? They give you value for spending 30 seconds, a minute to answer a few questions. They help you on your customer journey. If that fits for you, then great. A lot of people also use sort of the discount wheels, 20% off by signing up for my email. Just make sure if you're using one of these tactics that it fits with your model and it fits with your customer and that it's actually delivering value. There's nothing, I'm going to say I hate worse, but hate is too strong a word. Just when someone doesn't want to give a discount and they say, here's 10% off for signing up for my email. That's not an incentive to me. That's the tax, right? And that's just it's just a simple thing that people are doing that I don't think drives conversion. So think about what's actually authentic to your customer. Sometimes you can give away what they call as a lead magnet, which is something for free that brings them into your universe. It just depends on what you're selling. If you're selling skincare, what's a skincare routine or why was this skincare great? You know, it depends on what your product is and what the message or information you can give that serves your audience.
Perfectly. So, my next question is definitely a follow-up of this question because you have given a lot of strategies. You have given a lot of ideas for the startups that how they can utilize the marketing strategy. Now, the startups or the MSME have very limited budget out there, at least in the initial phase out there. Then what should be the budget-wise bifurcation for the digital marketing efforts that, according to you, that they should be utilizing?
Yeah. So there's a couple of ways to look at this. One is like just straight out budget, right? Here's what it cost for XYZ, which I'll go into. The other is to remember, and people don't think about this, is what's the value of your time as the founder, right? Where should you be investing your time and money, and what's your core expertise and skill set? That's something I always try to nail or to talk about with my clients, because some clients like designing and copywriting and building emails. Some clients don't. So think about it this way. If you're going to stare at a screen for an hour trying to create a social media post, you might be better off spending money to have someone do that for you, because you can spend your time working on something that's more authentic and attuned to your skill set. So keep that in mind as you hear these numbers. The other thing I like to tell people is I believe in garbage in, garbage out. So there's a lot of options out there for cheap resources. I can do 6 social media posts a month for you for $300. All you have to do is give me this one sheet on your brand. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And I've tested some of these things. Giving someone a one sheet on my brand, the social media posts I get back are not posts I want to put on my channel. So you got to think about what your priorities are and what your skill sets are as you go in this. So that in mind, there's 3 sort of ways people can go about this. So the lowest level of commitment, the lowest cost is to hit a platform like Fiverr. Find contractors who are experts in the things that you want to do and negotiate a deal with them to try it out, right? Lowest level of commitment for you, lowest cost. Middle of the lane is word of mouth, asking your colleagues for references, joining entrepreneur groups, getting references there, or LinkedIn. It's really easy with ChatGPT to create a job description and post it. I've done this. I've got over 1,000 applicants in 24 hours. I didn't even have to pay for the post. And those are all contractors and consultants that are out there. So that's going to be your middle level of commitment, your middle cost. And then the top of the line, right, is hiring an agency. They're going to be committed to your business. They're going to probably have the most sophisticated organization around doing what you're doing, but they're also going to have the highest cost. Okay. So for email marketing, make sure you have a quality email service provider that's in the business of doing email and SMS marketing. I'm a Klaviyo partner. I'm partial to them. I think they're fantastic for e-commerce. They plug easily into your platform. They have great segmentation and funnel building opportunities. But I've also just started using Brevo, which is one of their competitors. One of my clients uses them. They're also good as well. Then there's also MailChimp, and MailChimp is a great starter program. But just keep in mind that it can't do everything these other platforms can do. And there is a hiccup when you try to change later and have to rebuild things. Just my advice when picking an email platform is it should integrate seamlessly with your store. It should have automated funnels, and it should have robust segmentation value. It should also scale with you. It should be low cost when you start. And as you get more users and followers, the cost will go up, commensurate with what you're getting in terms of value from it. So that's that. Building and crafting your emails is most likely, you can find agencies that do this, but it's most likely going to be a freelancer or a contractor, depending on what you want to do. If it's not your area of expertise, it could be anywhere from a couple hundred to a couple thousand, thinking about what you want to get done. Jumping into social media, typically you can find a contractor or an agency for that. It's going to be anywhere from $2,000 to like $5,000 a month. That's for management and creative. And then you're going to have an additional expense if you want to do social media ads. You're going to pay for those ad campaigns. And think about it this way. The budget range is based on what you're getting. How many people are involved in the project, involved in your business, how established that agency is, how qualified they are in your area of expertise. I promise you, no matter what you're selling, you can find an agency that has experience with what you're doing and can help you. Don't settle for an agency that doesn't get your vision, is telling you what you need to do. They're not collaborating with you. Don't do it. Don't settle for it. Find the agency that you feel is a good fit. And then when you talk about pay-per-click, most agencies will tell you it's a minimum of $300 per platform per month. So Facebook, $300, Instagram, $300, Google search, $300, Bing, $300. And those are minimums just to get started, to find your footing, and then to grow from there. And then DM, which I talked about earlier, direct mail, it can be really efficient. It can be like 50 cents a postcard. And that's even, they have the capability to add addresses to customers if you don't already have it, to targeted mailers, which can be $2,000 to $3,000. But if you're looking for a big awareness builder and you get into one of these high quality mailers that's like, again, I'm going to go with a beauty brand, and they're specifically already curated a list of females who buy beauty products, that's a good way to start driving some awareness and build momentum. So that's a general vibe on the costs. There's a lot of negotiation in there. Don't be afraid to negotiate. Don't be afraid to discuss exactly what you're looking to do. I have people who deliver creative, but use an agency for copy. I have people who write copy, use an agency for creative. Like I have people who don't want to do anything. I have people who just need support. On the social media front, additionally, if you're doing it yourself because you like it, just get a good social media management software tool. It allows you to create your post and post it everywhere and schedule it and kind of bundle that work into a controlled time frame and manage that for you effectively, and it'll give you a lot of data coming out of it. So there's tools out there to help you with everything. Again, it all goes back to, what do you want to do yourself? What do you need someone else to do?
Definitely. So, when the startups, generally they will be working upon these all things, and what are the key minimum KPIs that you'd be recommending them to track that can help them understand that are they going on the right path or on the wrong?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked this. It reminded me that I've actually built a KPI tracker for e-commerce, and I'll give you a link that you can share with the audience.
Definitely.
There's a lot of KPIs. I'll run through them. I'll also send you the calculations so you can include them in the show notes. And again, you're tracking a lot of data, and you're figuring out which one you're trying to manipulate and optimize at a given time. You can't successfully optimize all your KPIs at the same time. There's too many variables. So let's run through them. You've got total revenue. It's a no-brainer, right? You've got your gain and loss per week, per month. So that's revenue minus expenses. Average order value or basket ring is important. So that's your total revenue over number of sales. You've got your conversion rate. So that's the number of orders versus the number of visitors. I also look at number of orders versus number of carts, because you want to kind of understand where the funnel is breaking, if it's breaking at all. You want to optimize each piece of that. You've got MER, which is media efficiency ratio, which is your total revenue over your total paid ad spend. You've also got return on ad spend, which is the revenue attributed to a campaign over the cost of a campaign. And your platforms will tell you this data. They'll say, this is how much revenue you got from your email inside your email platform. This is how much revenue you got from your Facebook ad inside Facebook platform. So you want to look at that by platform and by ad campaign. You also want to put on your skeptic hat, because every platform is going to claim they drove a sale. So you've got to kind of look at your funnel and understand where those sales are coming from, and make sure I'm getting into nitty gritty here, apologies, but make sure that you, like in your email platform, what's your attribution metric? Is it 3 days, 7 days? What's your attribution metric inside Facebook? Because a lot of times the reality is you're having a multi-touch sale, right? So people are engaging in you in multiple ways. So say they see a Facebook ad, they go to your site, they look at some stuff, they get sidetracked, they do something else, then they get a reminder email from you from abandoned browser. So now that's an email campaign that brought them back. And then they're, shopping and they happen to make a conversion. So now they've touched you 3 or 4 different ways. So you got to just put your skeptic hat on, your brain on, and kind of look at the data and figure out what you think it means. Trust your instincts is what I'm saying. Then you've got your CAC, your customer acquisition cost, which is your total expenses over the number of new customers. And one thing I like to remind people is they have to track their overhead. So the cost of your store, the cost of your marketing service platforms, the cost of any contractors or consultants you hire. That should go into your marketing costs. You don't want it because it makes your numbers not as pretty, but you really want to understand what that stuff is delivering you. And again, when you look at the spreadsheet with all of this data, which metric are you trying to monetize? Which metric are you trying to optimize? Do you want to increase revenue? Do you want to increase your conversion? Do you want to increase the efficiency of your ad? Obviously, you want to do all of those things, but you've got to kind of tackle each one at a time. And the number one way to really see how things are progressing is to look at this data on at least a weekly basis and track it over time. So those are additional columns in your spreadsheet, right? Did this go up or down this week? Okay, did I tweak something? Did that have a good effect? Did it have a bad effect? How do I optimize that? If you're tracking it week over week, it's the best way to catch fire if something good has happened and to know to expand it, and to catch things that are bad as well before you lose a lot of money. If you're not tracking, you could spend a month before you realize that something's not working. So it's really important to pull this data from your platforms and put it in this tracker on a weekly basis. And again, I've got a spreadsheet I'll share with you. It's just a Google sheet, and you plug in the data, and I'll send you all of the calculations as well.
Perfect, perfect. That will be very helpful for my audience. With this, we have nearly come to the end of today's episode. Any last point, any last advice that you would like to give to the audience?
Yeah, I think I talked about this at the beginning. I'm a big believer in creating an authentic connection with your customers, really getting to know them, what are their needs and wants, and how can you best serve them. People these days buy from people. So it's about developing your brand voice, engaging with your customers on social media, connecting with them over email, and really solving a problem for them, giving them something they need, and bringing them into your world. Once you get them in there, they become loyal customers, they become advocates for you, they become your best referral sources. So we've kind of done a lot of talking about the top of the funnel, right? How to bring customers in. This is the bottom of the funnel. This is re-engagement. This is customer lifetime value. This is referral programs. This is about just creating a brand that people want to be a part of and people that know you. So there's transparency and authenticity. A lot of people forget that. You don't have that from the big brands these days, and that's why people shop local or shop small.
Definitely. And just to add one more point into that is that about personalization. Because the more we personalize our communication, that will be effective for the audience to understand, and they can connect with us, and then definitely that can result in a better sales.
Yeah, and I think the next year is going to be, and a year is probably too long a horizon, fascinating as you see how cookies are changing, right? You're going to have less information, but yet AI is making it better to do more sophisticated personalization. Again, I think this goes down to having a customer's email and knowing your customers and then using the tools to optimize that relationship.
Definitely. Definitely. So you have given a lot of advice, and we have come to the end of today's episode. So thank you so much, Amy, for being part of this show and giving a lot of advices to my audience. And we look forward to have you again on our show and discuss some amazing topics.
Fantastic. All right. Have a good one, everybody.
Okay, bye.
All right.